Hi YouTube, here we go again. Um, the tire went flat overnight, so I'm assuming I missed a hole, so I'm going to end up taking it off again and doing this all over again. So you already seen how I took it off. You didn't get to see how I put it on because for some reason the video stopped before I even got into it. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe the camera overheated. But I don't know. It's kind of screwy because I didn't see any other leaks in the tube when I was taking it apart. So we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. Going to take it in the house and run some water over it and see if I can find the other leak. Came out here to just check the brake adjustment, but yeah, it didn't get that far. So still gonna have to buy another zip tie again. Unplug the connector again. And change the video orientation here in a second. So let me make sure you're still running. Yep. So the tire isn't completely flat, so that means it's not a big hole. So we'll take and let some more air out of it, take the tire back off. Today I put the handlebars down on foam because if you just leave the handlebars set, the touches on the on asphalt, it touches on the PAS selector and the gear shifter. So you got to let a little pressure out of the tire. You want them pretty close to flat when you take the tire off, otherwise you just make it more difficult. So me and my wife have ridden basically the same places, but I don't have a flat. Same lines, everything. Maybe she was ahead of me. Maybe she picked up the nail or the whatever's caused this flat, but I do believe it's still the rim tape poked another hole that it didn't go all the way through. But so this tire is going to come off with just simple using your hands. You don't have to have strong hands to do it. I don't have anyway, not anymore. And the rim, the black tape I put on it stayed put, so it's not caused by the and it appears the patch stuck good too. Yeah, patch stuck good. But somewhere along the inside of this inner tube, there's still an air leak, I assume. But we'll look in the tube, the tire, And there is absolutely nothing in there. Look on the outside, because sometimes you don't always see it from the inside. Nope. Only thing I see on that tire is grass. So let me go get my compressor going, and we'll put some air in the inner tube. We'll blow it up even farther this time to see if we can find it. Sorry for the noise, but yeah, it's pretty noisy. A spray bottle with some water in it. Just a minute. it is really slow. Huh, right next to the patch. What do you know? And it's about to, so it was definitely caused by the spoke. I'm not sure we can rip this patch off, but this patch is, it's right on the edge of the patch, so. And that patch is stuck good. What I'm thinking is that there's probably really no way I'm going to be able to get another patch to stick to the other one, but I might be wrong. So we'll wait for it to dry and do it again. Patch it, I'll put a small patch over and hope it sticks to everything. So just a note, when you're putting the rim back on, the wheel and tire back on the back of the bike, it's going to look like it doesn't go far enough into the dropout. That's because it has these torque washers on the inside that integrate into the dropout to keep the wheel from spinning in the dropouts. Unlike the XP, you don't have to worry about spreading the frame apart. The spacing on this frame is just where it needs to be. So looks dry. That's enough air pressure out. So I'm gonna grab the patch kit. We'll roughen up the area that we're gonna stick a patch on and let her dry and check it again. I did order inner tubes. I did not order them from Lectric. I ordered them from Amazon. I don't know when they'll be here, but I'm not going to take the wheel off if this holds air. So we're going to use, this is a tire, a big inner tube repair kit. This isn't a bicycle one, but my nearest bicycle store is 8 miles away and I didn't feel like driving there yesterday. So the patch is holding. We know what side we need to rough up, so we'll get our little rougher upper thingy out here and rough the patch up and the inner tube. Don't be afraid that you're going to tear a hole in the inner tube with this. Just rough it up really good. You can use sandpaper. Matter of fact, a lot of the bicycle repair kits come with sandpaper. Good. Put some. It's 60 degrees today out here, but this sun is pretty stinking hot. So, like I said before, don't be afraid to use the glue. Want it on there fairly thick. You let it dry. those self-sticking patches work pretty good. I don't remember which ones I used to use, but if you don't want to mess with glue, you can do the self-sticking patches. They work fairly well. So you wait for the glue to dry, and that doesn't. You could use regular rubber cement on this, but this is specific glue for this application. Getting our mail right now. We're having problems with the fender rattling on here. The back brakes need to be adjusted. So when you put your wheel on, it's best to have a crescent wrench available to turn the axle to the right deal. It goes with the flats down into the dropout. It only goes in one way, and that's because of the torque washer. And then you get it in, and you'll see that the torque washer's bottomed out in the dropout, but it will look like the wheel has a ways to go before it's all the way in there. That's just the way they designed it. Make sure your back wheel's good and tight when you put it back on. You don't want it loose, because it will bite you in the butt otherwise. So I'm ready to put the patch on. Peel the plastic off. And we'll stick her on. Okay. You can knee it on there with your thumb, your finger, just rub it. And in this case, it looks like it stuck really well right away. And we'll let it set for a little bit before we put any more air in it. Now, with these patches, when you put them on back in the tire, they're going to seal even harder against the inner tube, so you really don't have to worry about it coming off. But right now, it's got about the right air pressure in it to reinstall it on the rim. You want a little air in the rim when in the tube when you put it in. We want it to go on with the Chow Yang on this side, so on the drivetrain side. So, well, we got to make sure we get this right. Line up your inner tube with the valve core with the hole. Put it through, pull it through. And the wheel is the inner tube's lined up fairly well, but you want to make sure that it isn't at an angle either, so you may have to pull the tire around. Then you just go around with your thumbs and press the tire pack on. It isn't hard to do. If you've ever changed a tire on a traditional bike, usually you fight it. Okay. So, and we're going to put a little air in it, and then we're going to make sure that the tire's seated on the bead. Okay. Then you just go around the tire and you check both sides. How'd I do that? I got the tire on the wrong direction. Let's let the air back out of the tire and turn it around. Sometimes with these big tires, it'd probably be easier to just use a valve core remover. And as I was saying yesterday, no screwdrivers to take the tire on and off. You could use a bicycle specific tool, tire irons if you want to, but they're not that hard to get off, so. So you take one side off, take the other side off. Turn the wheel around. And line up the hole again. This is a fairly heavy wheel. It probably weighs 15 pounds. I got too much air in the tire still. Oh, that's not good. Okay. Spin the tire until the wheel until valve core lines up. And we'll valve core back in. Okay. Pull that valve core out. if you don't get the tire seated, it'll feel like you got a bump in the tire. And then you'll start thinking that you've got a out around wheel. So check it again. Tires seated, looks straight, and we'll finish putting air in it after we get the tire back on. So turn you around here a little bit. Just watch when you gotta hold the chain. Watch your cable. The only thing that should be on the inside is the silver torque washer. So I have me a crescent wrench here, and I need to turn the whole thing that way. So as you can see, it just drops right in there. And if we move this out of the way, if we take this off, and look, that torque washer is sitting all the way in the bottom of the dropout. So this is the first thing. This shaped washer here goes like that. Then you have a indexed washer that goes back next. Your deal here. Plug your cable in, make sure that you line up the arrows on it. It's easier to do if you do it before, and it has to plug all the way in. Slack. And it kind of clicks, but it really don't. Okay, now we need a 18 millimeter, and we'll tighten up the one side. And then before you tighten it up, make sure your brake looks like it's kind of lined up. This looks pretty tight, actually. I'm going to have to loosen the brake up. I tightened it up a little too much last night. We'll just snug one side for now. Let me move this out of the way. Pull my bench over here. So the best bet is you're going to want to get you a spray bottle. You can use Windex. I wouldn't use any caustic chemical on it, but so we'll go ahead and start your 4mm screw in the axle retainer. That's what these are called. Kept on calling them the torque washer, but they don't stop anything from torquing. They're just to retain the axle if the wheel loosens up so you don't lose it. And your derailleur protector just hangs on. You don't have to take it completely out. So, but it goes axle retainer. Then the next thing to go on would be your derailleur protector, and then there's a washer, and then the nut. So you really you're gonna probably need the nut all the way out to get this thing back in the right place, and then you screw the nut down, and keep in mind that this derailleur hanger will move when you start tightening it up, so you're going to have to hang on to that too. You're going to want this really tight. The torque settings are in the manual, but it was and unfortunately you can only go a quarter turn at a time. So then you're going to put your plastic cap back on the and just wiggle it on there. It's hard to get back on, but and then tighten up your axle retainer on this side. That also needs to be tight. So that's done. This side's done. I so enjoy working on bicycles. Maybe that's why I stopped doing it. I only hear a little brake rub. So, but I'll get to that in a minute. And let's see, what are we get back over here. Bring the wrench with this. Put that. Oh, we got that a little out of position. And I'm pretty fumbly fingered because of my carpal tunnel and my neck. I have some pinched nerves in my neck, so it makes me really fumbly fingered. Unfortunate. This side's a whole lot easier to tighten up than the other side. So now we need a 5mm, and No more rub. That's simple. All I did was loosen up the cable a little bit. Let it pull out a little bit because it has a spring pressure on that arm. And as you can see, no more rub. The wheel ain't exactly true. Well, the front one ain't round either. Neither is the back one. So in order to true it, it would be the same thing. Take the wheel off and same exact thing. So I'm going to push this on with a piece of wood. You don't want to beat it. Actually, make sure it's lined up. If you do beat it, don't beat it directly on the nut. It isn't bad out of round, but it is out of round. And the tire isn't seated all the way around in the same manner. So we're going to let some air out of it and try to reseat it again. You don't have to let all the air out. Just look for the high spots. Like I don't know if you'd notice that or not. And probably when I put some more air pressure in, it'll resolve itself anyway. So let's get the bike back up on its tires. Well, let me find me a zip tie to put on there. have some somewhere around here somewhere. Well, so last step is zip tie the wire. Don't over tighten the zip ties. They're just meant to hold the wire in place. Don't need a lot of pressure on them. These wires from my experiences is that if you over tighten the zip ties, all you're going to end up doing is ruining the wire. So when that's done, I think we can get her back up on its tires. Put some air in the back tire and check and make sure that we have a connection with the motor. So and then we'll put the valve core cap back on and call it a day. Get you uploaded into YouTube. Tires will go flat. Rotate this stuff back up and in position and check. If you don't have the wheel connected right, you'll get the error number 7. So if you see that, then your connector isn't in far enough or it's not right. So some of those bikes out there don't actually have a okay, what did I do? Where'd the valve core fall down? I'll have to take one off something else, I guess. So we're going to put this one back on. I'm going to give it a piece of whack with a piece of wood. This one isn't critical. It's just a dress up. That's enough for that one. It does not really want to go back on. You don't want to hit it too hard because there's a wire in there, but I don't want it to fall off either. Yeah, that's good enough. So if you really want to check the tire, lift it up, and it's good to go. Put my tools back in my bike bag here. Pat's kit back in its deal. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.